Alright, so like I said, that was the Blackstone Chronicles, and so that'll conclude another Let's Play. So, some final thoughts on it. I really enjoyed this game. I think it's kind of ironic that I ended up getting into psychology, as basically back when I played this game, it scared the crap out of me in periods, and really just, like I said, I know I talked about it a lot at the beginning, but when I played this one, even as a teenager, this disturbed me. I mean, this really made an impact on me. It was such that, at the time, I remember saying, you know, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to work in an insane asylum, because I'd seen a lot of movies where it really portrayed this sort of fear factor and creepiness, like, I'm trying to think of a movie. I think it's called Seven Monkeys, or something Monkeys with Bruce Willis, where the character is in an insane asylum for a significant period of time, and you know, movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest really played up to a lot of stereotypes of what the inside of a inpatient hospital for the mentally ill looks like, and you know, people obviously have a lot of fear factor around that. It's a very helpless, you know, it's a terrifying feeling that your mind could be playing tricks on you, and that you never quite know what's real and what's not. And that's honestly what's so creepy about this game. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable about psychology and psychiatry, and I honestly can't tell you the majority of this game. I don't know whether this is real or not. You know, most of it is. Like, a lot of the descriptions of the science are pretty accurate, and the history is also very well accounted by John Saul. At least I hope that the production designers based most of their information off of his books. I imagine they must. Like I said, I did not read the John Saul books. A lot of the intro kind of talked about the first, I think, pretty much all of the books. They all had all of those items. The lighter, the handkerchief, the locket, and the doll. I think they all had their own books, and they were all these sort of evil objects that caused some people, maybe even Oliver, I don't know, to be possessed and do terrible things around this town. And so I think the idea of it was that these producers of the game were probably fans of the series, and they wanted to kind of close out the series. They wanted to bring a happy ending and a successful ending and close out the story arc. And I didn't even read the previous books, but this was really satisfying. Malcolm is a terrific villain. I mean, he's just this menacing, cold, dark, narcissistic figure who, you know, and it's really interesting. Most of the time, he's just kind of bemused. He doesn't really, he's playing with you, he's toying with you. It makes it feel like he's lost patience with you at the same time, especially as you keep going. It seems like he's happy that you're doing what you're supposed to do, and he's trying to give you a message. But then at the same time, it's like when you're in these trials, he's not happy because you're not able to experience that pain. I think that's what he really wants Oliver to experience. But again, you know, his final motives are, you're never really sure. Basically, in the end, he wanted you to kill your wife because he wants revenge on that family. I think the Hardwick was her name. Wants revenge on that family because they either killed him or they did something that he didn't like. So basically, his life goal was, even in death, was to train you to become this dark figure, as it was talking about, and do in your wife and then do who knows how much damage to other people or other things just to get his revenge. So anyway, final thoughts. Story, phenomenal. The game, the atmosphere, you really get sucked into it. I think it was really cool what the designers did. The area to explore is not very big, and it's very similar to The Seventh Guest in that at first you're not able to get very far. So it sort of limits the amount of exploration you do, but one thing it did so much better than The Seventh Guest, even with those little pauses that sometimes happen while the CD is rendering and letting you slowly move, it's a heck of a lot faster than The Seventh Guest was. And to be fair, this game was made about 5 or 6 years later, so the technology has obviously come along quite a long ways. Now, I have a Windows 7 PC. When I tried to play this, I knew I wanted to play this. When I tried it on my Windows 7 PC, it would not work. The transitions were so slow, it would have been painful. I would have had to turn off the transitions just to make the game work. And I didn't want to do that, because then you lose being able to really get yourself into the game, and I figured that would rob the viewer of the actual game experience. So I went to great pains to try and figure out if I could play it on Windows XP, and it still works. If you have Windows XP or any previous incarnation of Windows, you can play this game, find it. It's definitely worthwhile. I own this game. I didn't download this one. I didn't buy it off goodoldgames.com, nothing like that. It might eventually be available. I would imagine it would be. Even though it is a little bit more obscure, for this one I wanted to try one that I figured not everybody has played, but in that same vein of adventure, horror stuff that I really liked a lot as a kid. And so when I started doing this process, especially when I was playing a game like The Seventh Guest, this one just naturally popped into my head. And I knew it was someone that I really wanted to re-experience myself, as well as be able to share my thoughts about it, a little bit of my nostalgia, and be able to pass it on to this, to the next generation, just to remind people of what a great game experience this was. Specifics, graphics, very, very good. At the time, it very nicely blends sort of almost FMV-esque elements. Like, there really weren't a lot of animations in this game. There were some that you saw. The little pictures where you're talking to Joshua, or, Joshua's being controlled by Malcolm, they're few and far between. They're a little annoying, but because there aren't that many of them, it's okay. The voice acting, like I said, really good. I liked Malcolm's performance. He was fantastic. Some of the others, it was pretty well balanced. I liked that. The music, oh man, even just now, listening to the music in this lobby as I'm talking, it's such a great atmosphere. The music isn't very diverse, but it does do a really good job of capturing the different emotional states. When you're in those time puzzles, you feel like doom is coming. And that helps because of the spirits crying out to you, warning you that danger is upon you, and just that sense of coldness and dread as Malcolm is explaining in very cold medical terms exactly what's happening to you and what's going to happen to you and what's going to kill you. That's just masterful. I love it. What else? The puzzles. I like the puzzles too. They're pretty balanced. This one is much more of the classic adventure sort of find the key to the door puzzle. But at the same time, I really liked how not all of the doors you could actually access. You didn't really need to. And that was what I was trying to say before. The game designers were brilliant. This is not a very big game, yet the place feels huge. It feels like a really big hospital. And there's an air of mystery to it because you can't go everywhere. You can't ever get into the morgue. You can't get into the men's wing. You can't get into Area 7 or whatever the heck that was. Wing 7. I'm not even sure what that was at the end of the women's wing. So it really did a great job of just creating a very realistic, very creepy environment. And the constant narration of Malcolm kind of making fun of you, I loved it. So overall, I give this game a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this experience. It's a little short. The characters, they have a little bit of depth, but there's so much more that you don't know about these characters, so that's a little frustrating. So, 8.5, 9 out of 10. I really recommend you check it out. So, thanks again, everyone. This has been another one of my Let's Plays. Again, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next. Be finishing up Broken Sword. I swear this time. Still working on it. As always, leave me any comments if you have any ideas, any constructive criticisms. Thank you very much, everyone. This is Chronos006, signing off. Until next time.
No. No more games. You will stay here.